One morning, it was a young man named Ash Ketchum's birthday. Today was a special day. It was his 10th birthday. That meant he was ready to begin his journey to become a Pokemon master. It was a beautiful morning in the region of Johto, in the small little town of New Bark. The winds were blowing, and the day was splendid. But things weren't so splendid for Mr. Ash Ketchum. He was supposed to get his starter Pokemon today, but he slept through his alarm clock. Ash, still asleep, hears a knock at the door, and a muffled voice coming from outside. Half asleep still, the muffled voice became more clear, and it was his childhood friend, Chris. Chris screams, "Ash, you dingus, do you realize what day it is?" Ash immediately realizes he needs to get his starter Pokemon. With that said, Ash dashes out the door in cartoon fashion and heads out to Professor Elm's lab. At Professor Elm's lab, another astounded Pokemon researcher was present, the world-renowned Professor Oak. Professor Oak had a radio show in Goldenrod, and he was just in the area at this time to showcase some research he found about Pokemon evolution. Astounded by this new information, Professor Elm invited him over. Our hero Ash also has a connection to Professor Oak, through his mother, Delia. Delia and Professor Oak knew each other for a long time, as Delia grew up in Kanto. Ash, panting and exhausted, finally shows up to Professor Elm's lab and shouts, "I'm ready for my Pokemon, Professor Elm." Professor Elm looks at Ash with dismay and says, "Come on, Ash, not again. I'm Professor Elm. I wear glasses." Professor Oak reciprocates that expression, but nonetheless still says hello to Ash. Accompanied behind Ash, Chris slowly makes her way over to the lab with her new starter Pokemon at her side, being a Chikorita. Ash, rushing out of the house, didn't notice Chikorita. When he noticed it though, he was super excited about it. Ash has loved Pokemon his entire life, so he was happy for Chris. Ash thought about it for a second, and at first wanted Totodile. However, he could see within the corner of his eye a figure looking in through one of the windows of the lab. Ash had a gut feeling for whatever reason and felt that Totodile was destined to go somewhere else. So, with his gut feeling intact, Ash chose the other ball, being Cyndaquil. Ash released Cyndaquil from its Pokeball, emerging from a ball of fiery energy. Cyndaquil yawned and made contact with Ash. Ash, eager to pick up a Cyndaquil, got set on fire after taking a flamethrower. I think we've seen this behavior somewhere before where our young hero gets shocked, but I'm not too sure about that alternate Pokemon universe. Seeing Ash get flamed, Chris begins to laugh, but in a funny way because it's Pokemon, and we laugh at people getting set on fire. With that said, Ash and Chris set out on their journey from New Bark Town. The professors, the town, and family alike bid farewell to these new trainers. They walk forward towards the journey ahead, with new friends added for the ride. Little did anyone in New Bark know though, a young boy was hiding near Professor Elm's lab, and behind everyone's backs had swiped the remaining Totodile. Everyone had been out saying their goodbyes to Ash and Chris, but the young boy took advantage of the opportunity to make his move. He too set forth on his journey, and little did he know in due time he would meet up with the two trainers from New Bark. This boy's name was Silver, and he was the son of the infamous Team Rocket boss, Giovanni. Team Rocket referred to him as the boss. I'm sure in an alternate universe, we've heard 3 individuals use this term, and among them is a talking Meowth. They had been entrusted with the task of spying on Silver, making sure he is somewhat safe. Obviously, while they are doing that though, they still have to capture rare and valuable Pokemon, as that is the entirety of Team Rocket's existence. In due time though, the heroes, Silver, and these Team Rocket goofballs will all find each other one way or another. While on the way to their first stop in Cherry Grove City, Ash and Chris run into a flock of bird-like Pokemon that are giving them some trouble. The problem was due to a sassy Chikorita. Ash and Chris had stopped to eat some lunch that Chris's mom had prepared for them. They were rice balls, and boy did these jelly-filled donuts look good. I'm not the only one who thought these delicacies looked delicious though. Above the tall tree where Ash and Chris were, there was a flock of Spearow, who also had their eyes set on the prize. One Spearow had slowly flown down, and while Chris's Chikorita was drinking her water, Spearow had come and swiped her food. As Spearow is about to fly away with it, Chikorita lets out a vine whip and grabs the Spearow by its talon in an attempt to get her food back. Another vine zips around and takes the food back from Spearow's beak. Chikorita had her food back in vine, and ate the whole thing herself while sticking her tongue out at the Spearow. Spearow gets angry by this and swiftly starts attacking Chikorita with the flurry of peck attacks. Eventually, hearing all the commotion from below the tree, the entire flock of Spearow fly down and begin to attack and rob the gang of their food. Cyndaquil, like Chikorita, isn't really too pleased with getting his food stolen, so naturally, Cyndaquil attempts to use a flamethrower, but in turn gets piled on by several pecking Spearow. This severely injures both Chikorita and Cyndaquil, and now we find our young heroes in a bit of a pickle, as they scurry off running away. Right around the corner, Silver is attempting to capture a Rattata, and off in the distance, he sees a huge flock in the sky coming towards him, with 2 trainers in the front. Silver, shocked by this, returns his Totodile and starts to run off as well. Little did any of these 3 trainers know, though, there was a trio of 3 more individuals that had a device perfectly lined up to capture these Spearow. Gee, I wonder who they could be. Team Rocket, with whatever money they had, somehow were able to buy a giant Meowth, and in the hands of that mecha bot was a net, huge enough to capture a flock of Spearow. With Silver running, and our heroes not too far behind, Mecha Meowth swings its net as it captures about half of the Spearow. The other half dodged the net anticipating this, and began to separate in the individual Spearow, each attacking Team Rocket. The Mecha Meowth, however, was equipped with an electrical surge that shocked all the Spearow except for one. There was one Spearow that had dodged past all that. This Spearow was the leader of the flock, and it had a lot of battles under its wings. It fought tooth and nail to become the leader of its flock, and with rage in its eyes, it began to glow into what seemed like a transformation. After glowing for a bit of time and going through a physical change, the little Spearow evolved into a Fearow, thus blowing up Team Rocket's mech with a filled bit of rage and freeing all of its brethren. Injured from the previous Electro Surge, the Spearow slowly started to recover, but they didn't have quite enough energy to get up. Shocked and intrigued by this Spearow's potential, 3 Pokeballs are thrown. From a long-haired girl from Team Rocket who called herself Jessie, another from Silver, and the third from our backwards capped protagonist. The 3 balls hit each other at the same time, and thus the group of these people finally lay eyes on each other for the first time. Fearow, also injured, looks at this group of people itching for a battle against any of them. Which one of these trainers will capture Spearow? Find out next time on What If Ash Started in Johto. Well, that was the first segment of If Ash Started His Journey in the Johto region. I plan on doing these in parts, and I want to do one of these at least once a month. Let me know what you guys think is going to happen down below, and make your predictions for who you think will capture Fearow. Let me know down below, and with that said, I will see you guys next month for another episode of What If Ash Started in Johto. Hey, welcome to my new outro. A big thank you to everyone for watching the video. I want to give a huge thanks to my phenomenal team, and for the amazing art done each week by Danny the Demon. I couldn't do all this without them. If y'all enjoyed the video and want to see more content like this, be sure to leave a like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. Be sure to leave a comment too. It really helps us out. I have a brand new TikTok for MysticSage, and I've got a goal to get 10k followers over there. If we can hit that goal, I'm going to pick a random video suggested to me by you guys and do it. So go over there and leave a follow. Also over on MysticSage, we've still got 2 videos going up every weekend. We've got content from My Hero, to Demon Slayer, to Dragon Ball. So come and check it out. And also check out MysticSage on TikTok. Finally, I've got an Amazon store where I sell tons of cool stuff. I think I'm gonna wrap this up though. I'm MysticSage, and I'll see you next time with some more amazing Pokemon content.